Welcome back, everybody, to Third Phase. I'm Rich Giordano.
And I'm Michael Roser.
And we're back. We've got more UFOs to go over and cover in the year 2021. Hope you guys had a great New Year's, and the year is starting off strong for you, as it is here on Third Phase and Third Phase of Moon. Michael, we are going to look at a couple of sightings here that I really don't have any answers to. This is what we look for in ufology. And I don't know, man. Let's take a look and see what we come up with here.
Sounds good to me.
Next shot.
Rapaz, eu não sei o que é aquilo que eu tô vendo não. Mas tem alguma parada pegando fogo no céu. Porra é essa, velho? Mano, olha isso, velho. Ixi, sumiu. E apareceu de novo. Olha isso, mano. Olha lá, mudou de direção. Tá vindo pra frente. Ixi, caiu um pedaço. Sumiu. Olha lá, dá pra ver ainda.
This was captured just earlier, right at the end of 2020. And there was no fireworks during this day, apparently, but it has the characteristics of a firework, in my opinion. But it's interesting. Usually fireworks dissipate. They don't just, come to a dead stop and then turn into an orb, disappear, and then reappear, and then do the same flight pattern again. And it's kind of bizarre. Usually a firework kind of just descends in a straight line. This thing stops again. It hovers. It's actually hovering there. Look at this. It's just sitting there. Fireworks don't just sit there and then move slightly to the left, a little upward. Looking at this very closely, drops another strange thing from its underbelly, and then disappears out of existence. Incredible stuff. Wow, we got to watch this again. This is an amazing video. At first I was just going to dismiss it as a firework, but now looking at it again, this is something unusual, Brent.
Yeah, it looks like it has three stages. First it's stationary, then it goes into this kind of zigzag motion. If this was a drone with pyrotechs, drones really can't perform a maneuver like this. So that's odd in itself. It could be something entirely different, and then it just disappears, like you said, and reappear, and then it stops again. This is some of the strangest pyrotechnic firework I've ever seen, if that's what it is. And if it's not that, what in the hell is it?
All right, so I'm going to start off with you and go back to this video here and tell me what you think.
This is awesome. I really like this video because it leaves so many questions unanswered. And I know that that's not what we're always looking for, but sometimes it's nice to settle on something like that. Now, at first glance, we're noticing, again, as I believe it was Brent who mentioned, that it was stationary at first, and then began to do this sort of waving zigzag motion towards the ground. Now, there is nothing in pyrotechnics that I'm familiar with that will actually do this in the way that it's moving. You could manipulate, but you would see those manipulations in the way of, side explosions or something along those lines, some sort of propulsion that would, again, push that object in the direction it was going. First, when you're looking at it too, you might think, oh, well, maybe there's some sort of meteor characteristic to it. I don't see that being the case. It still keeps its luminosity. It's consistent. And again, the way that it's moving almost appears, again, at first glance, to have some sort of sentience. And what's really kind of interesting, and I don't know if this is part of the artifacting, but it doesn't really look that way, but I'm going to throw that out there as a possibility, that as it's descending, you're seeing it sort of pull apart and see segments, which almost appear to be these small balls that then, as it comes together, it continues to move down. This is really, really interesting. What are your first thoughts when you're seeing this video, Rich?
First thoughts is it's fireworks. It's New Year's Eve, and what else could it be other than that? But then you see something like this where a piece drops off of it, and I don't know if it's part of the object that just burnt off. Is this alien in origin? Is it a UFO? Yeah, it's UFO. Is it alien? I don't know. Is it alive? I don't know. It disappears for a second. Did it go in the clouds and come back out? We just can't tell. I don't know. But there's a lot of things in here that are just awfully strange, and I don't have an answer for it other than maybe it's fireworks. And if it isn't, this could be a living organism just, you know, checking out the scene here on Earth. And maybe it let something loose to go travel on the ground. Very odd. I told the Cousins brothers this. There's always something new. It's never the same things we see over and over again. And maybe we'd find a pattern. But this is random, and it's weird.
You know, not for nothing, but, you know, I think it's worth a mention. My family actually made fireworks.
Oh, no way.
For many, many years. They're one of the only families in the state that I live in that was allowed to do this. And the only reason I'm bringing that up is because every year my uncle would have a firework display, an enormous firework display in his backyard, and the whole family come over. And I've never seen anything like this in my entire time of being around that. I've never seen anything like this in the way of pyrotechnics.
Wow. Well, that puts a stamp of approval on unidentified right there. That is good to know. All right, let's go to the next one and hear what the Cousins brothers have in store this one.
This was captured earlier in 2020, just a couple months ago, but I'm looking at it for the first time, and I'm hoping you're enjoying this and you haven't seen it before, because what we're looking at over the Andes mountain range over Chile, an airplane passenger apparently captures a huge ship over the Andes. The Chilean named Rodrigo, a passenger, said that he was on his way from Puerto Montt to Santiago, and he witnessed this impressive presence of a tubular-shaped UFO just hovering over the Andes mountain range. He was able to capture several videos that leave no doubt that there's something going on, and I want to get your guys' opinions. What the heck is this? This thing is massive. I don't think it's a lenticular cloud, in my opinion. I've seen a lot of lenticular clouds. Could it be? It's a possibility. But if this is a craft, and it's a large one, I'm putting some brightness contrast on this thing, and it seems that there has some geometric shape to it. It doesn't seem natural, in my opinion. It seems very out of the norm, and we're looking at it. I'm wondering if other people were able to capture the same phenomenon. Brett, what's your thoughts of this strange craft, and how large do you think it is?
Yeah, Blake, these are your typical cigar-shaped UFOs, but could this be the one that breaks it all open? This one's really good. I like what Rodrigo captured, and he says this was monumental in size. I believe that. This thing's huge. I would say it looks almost like a half a mile wide, and it does look tubular.
I'm looking at it a little closer, Brandon. I'm just kind of wondering, could it be CGI? Are we looking at some kind of possible hoax here? I'm not sure. I want to get your guys' opinion. I'm seeing it, and I'm not really seeing any deception. I guess I'm going to rule out CGI.
All right, I am going to take the first shot at this one.
Please do.
Because it's not a cloud. Now, I don't know that for a fact, but it seems to be keeping its shape the entire time. It's high, it's higher than the mountains, so it's definitely not a lenticular cloud, because that's how they form when the wind is blowing up against the mountain, and I guess the backdraft and the humidity and the heat and the cold air create a cloud in that area. Definitely not a cloud. And it is one of those cigar-shaped UFOs that we've seen and heard about our entire lives. The thing I like about this is that it's similar, but not, of the Chile UFO that happened a few years ago, where it was also videotaped from an airplane window, and the object looked like it had a trail following it. It came out of the clouds. Remember that one? I don't know if you do, but it was also, it looked very similar to this, but it was moving. This one is hovering in the same spot for the entire time. It's a very cool video, man. If anything, it's a UFO, but if it isn't, because the guys brought up it could be CGI, but they don't see it. I don't see it as CGI, because it's definitely shaking perfectly with the camera and matching up with the background. Well, what do you think?
Actually, I was going to say something similar. You know, my first thought was, is this CGI? And that's sort of because of the sparseness of the video and the way that it's filmed. So I had to look at that first, and I agree with you know, both Third Phase Moon and you, that this isn't CGI, that's actually in its environment, whatever this object is. Initially, I'm looking at this, I don't just see a cigar shape, I see a disc. And I'm not sure why that is. Maybe it's just my brain putting the third dimensional components together, but that's what I'm seeing here. And there is a shading underneath that, you know, sort of separates whatever, you know, the top is from the bottom. Or we might be seeing there's a band in the middle there, and perhaps there is still a more wide bottom on there that we're not seeing because of the light source. But that being said, if this was any sort of cloud, that'd be one heavy cloud all on its own, sitting there with all this rain in there. I mean, to be able to see that in the cloud. So I'm definitely gonna have to rule that out as well. An unidentified object, certainly. It must be enormous, you know, given any perspective that we have here in this video. It has to be enormous. And we've been seeing a lot of these, or hearing reports of people talking about these larger than life crafts, especially lately. You know, it's been mentioned in the past as well, but especially recently, people have been talking about these sort of mothership type vehicles that are appearing in the skies.
I see the disc shape too. There's because when you have a bright object or something that's reflecting the sun, it gives this black effect that we see here. And because it's overcompensating for the brightness of the object, and very possibly that could be a disc-shaped object that's giving the illusion it is a tube, cigar shape. Very, very wild stuff, man. It's not fair that they're doing this to us. All right, we're gonna watch the next video. Oh, unless you have anything else you want to add.
Nope, that's it. We're good.
All right, on to the next. 2021 is magical already.
Now, let's get to this. A video just captured again January 1st, 2021, well, right before the new year, in our backyard, Hawaii, on Oahu. Watch.
Officials from the Federal Aviation Administration say there were no aircraft incidents or accidents in this area Tuesday night, but multiple witnesses report seeing a large blue object fall out of the sky and into the ocean.
Something is in the sky.
So there's a special report coming out of Hawaii in regards to this strange blue object that was spotted over the islands, captured by eyewitnesses from the ground. And they say that this object, or this blue, strange flying UFO, whatever it is, appeared to land in the Pacific Ocean off the coast of Oahu, and they don't know what it is. And even it got the news attention. What's crazy too is people actually chase this thing in their car, and the eyewitnesses are asking questions. What the heck is going on over the skies and under the waters off the coast of Oahu? This is amazing stuff. Just in.
I don't know, I looked up. And then I was like, oh, started calling my husband then because we was all in the garage. I was like, hey, look up there. Let's see what I see. They all said, yeah.
The 38-year-old says she's never really been a believer in UFOs, but the bright blue object had them so intrigued, they jumped in the car and started following it.
I don't know what it was. This one was going so fast.
The journey ended less than 3 miles from where it began, on Farrington Highway in front of the Board of Water Supply building, after the object appeared to drop into the ocean.
What's amazing is that the eyewitnesses themselves, like I said, they chased it down, but they said it was moving so fast, it was hard to catch up with it. They said that the object was lit up blue, and as you could hear from the eyewitnesses, they were amazed of what they were witnessing. It's nothing like they've ever seen in the sky before. These people in Hawaii, they have a lot of time to look up in the stars. We got the best weather in the world and the most clearest skies on the planet. So we're stargazers out here. We see a lot of stuff. Trust me, the UFO activity over the islands is massive, but it's really interesting of this kind of object. I haven't seen one quite like this, Brent. What's your thoughts?
Yeah, some people say it looked kind of biological, almost a worm-like, which is fascinating. Again, this is strange. What in the world is this thing doing out over the coastal waters of Oahu? And then again, we're seeing these objects that disappear into the water, these USOs appearing over the ocean. It's just amazing. What are these lights? Again, the strange color, the purple look, and the way it's a little flexy. You see it kind of bend and break up into a little pike right at the bottom of this object, and that's kind of weird too. She says it was almost the size of a telephone pole, and that could be maybe about 40 to 60 feet. So this thing's quite large.
All right, Michael, you're going to take us out on this one. What do you think?
So I wonder if what we're looking at is the entire craft or object, or if we're only seeing a part of it because that's all that's illuminated. One of the interesting things about this is that although we see this light in the sky, it's not overbearingly bright. So, I mean, I'm not sure if that has some significance, but I'm sure that the color does. And I wonder, this is what pops up into my mind when I see videos like this. I wonder color significance is on some of these objects, or if there is a significance attached to that. This is interesting, and the fact that so many people saw it, and some of them actually chased it, and then there were witnesses that saw it go down into the ocean. So we had the end result of this sighting here, at least in testimonial form, if not in video form. But this is what people were saying. So this this object is really cool because we can't really determine an origin, considering that it didn't stay in the sky. It actually did go into the water. This is fascinating, and one of the reasons I love USOs so much. What about you, Rich? What are your thoughts on this?
It reminds me of that movie, The Abyss, when the tube-like water being, came in and into their craft, into the submarine or whatever they were in. Yeah, it's pretty wild. If you go by what the witnesses were saying, they followed it for 3 miles. And they said it was moving very fast and then went into the water. So if we go by what just they said, that to me is astounding. Now, at first glance, I first think of balloons, the way it's arched right there. It kind of looks like it could be balloons with LED lights attached to it. And I don't know. I have to say it, because we have to think of everything that's possible. But if you go by the witness accounts, that's bizarre. They know what they're looking at. Like Brent said, or Blake said, that they're sky watchers out there. It's beautiful. They're always looking up. It's a great place to sky watch. And just about everybody on the islands do it over there, it seems. It's a magical place, Hawaii. So the fact that this happened over Oahu, it's interesting, because there's a lot of water out there, and they could be doing anything they want. Nobody would ever know.
There's also a lot of structure underneath those waters too.
What do you mean?
So if anybody was going to build something down there or to hide something, even if it wasn't us, I think it would be quite easy to do that in the waters in and around Hawaii, because there are a lot of structures in the way of volcanic action, of course, in the way of reefs, in the way that the land itself was formed over time.
Oh, yeah, okay. Yeah, that makes sense. I believe that there's a base right off of California. A lot of people talked about that, Malibu, then the Catalina Islands area. So Hawaii, you would have a better place of hiding than right off the coast of California. So it's very interesting. There was also a blue flash that happened in the clouds. I think there's a
I saw that.
thunderstorm. It did rain that night. So I don't
It's
know
like
if it
heat
has
lightning.
I don't know if it has anything to do with it, but a lot of people see this as a UFO, and it could just be energy they were sucking from the thunderstorm. Who knows? But anyway, that's it for today on the sightings. Michael, if you would like, tell everybody where we could find you.
Sure, you can find me at Dark Hour Paranormal, Third Phase, and occasionally on Third Phase of Moon. And Rich, where can we find you?
Right here on Third Phase, of course, and Goof On, Greatest UFO Network on YouTube, 10 Eastern, 7 Pacific, just about every night. Hope your new year's starting off great. And don't forget to pre-order Countdown to Disclosure, which is dropping February 6th on Amazon and other platforms. So don't forget to check that out. It will be out February 6th. So that's it for Third Phase. We'll see you next time. Hope you have a great day. All right, we'll see you next time here on Third Phase. Good night, everybody.